Okay, so, ready for a deep dive. And I mean deep. Today we're going where even the bravest scuba divers wouldn't dare into the heart of some real ocean mysteries.
The ocean, it's like that saying, we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own planet's depths.
It's true.
Yeah.
And some of the things we have found down there, well, let's just say they made Jaws look like a goldfish.
There are creatures and phenomena in the ocean that we haven't even begun to understand.
Exactly. And today, we're diving headfirst into those mysteries. We're talking about unexplained disappearances, baffling scientific anomalies, and the kind of creatures that might just make you sleep with the lights on.
It's a fascinating and often unsettling world down there.
No kidding. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Yeah.
Our first deep dive takes us all the way back to 2003, off the coast of Australia. Picture this. Researchers are tracking a great white shark, a female, about 3 meters long.
A formidable predator in its own right, already at the top of the food chain.
Oh yeah, this is no guppy. So they've got this state-of-the-art tracking device attached to her fin, recording all sorts of data depth, movement, even the water temperature.
Standard procedure for these kinds of studies.
Right, trying to understand their behavior, migration patterns, all that good stuff. So everything's going smoothly, data's coming in, and then bam, everything goes haywire. The shark makes this sudden crazy dive, plunging from 250 meters down to 580 meters.
Now that's strange. Great whites, they typically don't dive that deep.
Definitely not typical behavior. But it gets weirder. The sensor on the tracker, it records this massive temperature spike, like almost instantly. It goes from a chilly 8 degrees Celsius to a whopping 26 degrees.
That's a huge jump and practically impossible at that depth without some external factor.
Right. It's like swimming through an underwater heat wave. But hold on, because the story gets even more mysterious. The signal from the tracker, it goes dead for a while. Then it pings again, but miles away from the shark's last known location.
So what happened to the shark? Where did it go?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Okay.
Here's the kicker. They never found the shark. Just the mangled tracking device washed up on shore a few days later.
Damaged. How badly are we talking?
Let's just say it wasn't a gentle removal. Whatever happened down there, it had some serious force behind it.
Yeah. That's unsettling, to say the least. So what are we thinking? What could have possibly inflicted that kind of damage on a great white shark at that depth?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Because the leading theory is our 3-meter great white might have become lunch.
Eaten. By what? What could take down a great white like that?
That's the question, isn't it? And the answer, well, it might just give you nightmares. We're talking about the stuff of legends, the king of the prehistoric ocean, Megalodon.
Yeah.
Megalodon. I mean, it's the ultimate apex predator, right?
Right.
A prehistoric giant that makes even the biggest great white look like a guppy.
Exactly. The stuff of nightmares. But as fascinating as that theory is, we have to stay grounded in evidence. While we can't rule anything out entirely, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And when it comes to Megalodon, that evidence is, well, still missing.
Right? Got to keep our heads level, even when we're this deep into the ocean's mysteries. Speaking of which, ready for another deep dive. This time, we're leaving the world of sharks behind and heading into the realm of robots.
Robots. In the ocean. This sounds intriguing.
Oh, it gets even better. Remember the Nereus probe? This wasn't just some little underwater drone. This thing was a marvel of engineering, a multi-million-dollar machine designed to withstand the most extreme conditions the ocean could throw at it. Crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, you name it.
We're talking about the kind of depths that would turn a regular submarine into a crumpled soda can, right?
Exactly. And Nereus was built to handle it all. It even explored the Challenger deep in the Mariana Trench, the deepest known point on Earth.
And survived to tell the tale, so to speak. So what happened? Where did things go wrong for Nereus?
Well, in 2014, Nereus was on a mission to the Kermadec Trench, northeast of New Zealand. This trench is almost 10,000 meters deep. Just let that sink in for a second. Or dive down, I guess.
Deeper than Mount Everest is tall. That's an incredible depth. The pressure down there must be unimaginable.
Absolutely mind-boggling. And the Kermadec Trench, it's not just deep, it's also home to these crazy hydrothermal vents, think underwater geysers, spewing out superheated mineral-rich water from the Earth's crust.
Talk about a hostile environment. So Nereus is down there, bravely collecting data in this extreme environment, and then...
And then, silence. The signal just dropped. No warning, no distress signals, nothing. Nereus just went, poof, vanished.
Hold on. No trace, no debris field, no fragments, nothing.
Nothing. It was like it just blinked out of existence.
Okay, now that's seriously strange. A machine that's sophisticated, designed for those conditions, doesn't just disappear. What's the official explanation?
Officially, internal malfunction.
Yeah.
But even the engineers who built Nereus had a hard time swallowing that one.
I can imagine. It's like sending a tank into a pillow fight and having it spontaneously combust. Something doesn't add up.
Exactly. And you know the internet had a field day with this one. Conspiracy theories galore.
Oh, I can imagine. Secret underwater bases, alien encounters, maybe even a giant squid with a taste for high-tech snacks.
Who knows? But here's the thing. Two underwater mysteries, both involving incredible depths, unexplained forces, and a distinct lack of evidence. It makes you wonder, are these incidents connected by more than just the vastness of the ocean?
Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? That maybe, just maybe, there's something else down there. Something big enough, strong enough to take out a great white shark and a high-tech robot probe.
I'm just saying, the ocean is full of surprises. And some of those surprises might be bigger and toothier than we ever imagined. Which brings us to another chilling deep-sea mystery. The case of the giant whale carcass.
Oh, I've heard about this one. The footage is pretty hard to stomach, isn't it?
It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Imagine a massive whale just torn in half like it was nothing.
Gruesome, and the theories surrounding it are just as wild. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about what we actually know. What kind of creature could inflict that kind of damage on a whale, a creature that's already a giant of the ocean?
Well, that's the question that's had marine biologists scratching their heads for years. And it always seems to circle back to one name.
Megalodon.
Megalodon. It's like the
Yeah.
boogeyman of the deep, isn't it? Always lurking in the back of our minds, just below the surface of our collective fear.
Well, it's hard to deny the allure of the megalodon theory, especially when you consider the sheer scale and power of these prehistoric predators.
Talk about awe-inspiring. These creatures were the apex predators of their time, ruling the oceans millions of years ago.
Think about it. Megalodons could reach lengths of up to 30 meters. That's longer than a blue whale, which is the largest animal on Earth today. And their teeth, some of them have been found fossilized, and they're the size of a human hand.
Okay, now that's officially terrifying. And their bite force. Don't even get me started.
It's estimated that a megalodon's bite was 10 times more powerful than that of a Tyrannosaurus rex. Imagine the kind of force it would take to crush through bone and blubber like it was nothing. These creatures were the ultimate eating machines.
It's both fascinating and terrifying to think about. But as much as our imaginations might want to believe, the scientific evidence for Megalodon's continued existence just isn't there.
Exactly. But while the megalodon theory might be a bit of a stretch, it does raise an important point. Our knowledge of the ocean is still incredibly limited. There are vast areas we haven't even begun to explore, depths that remain shrouded in mystery.
It's like staring into a dark room knowing there's something in there with you, but you just can't quite make it out. You know what else makes me think about how much we don't know about the ocean? Creatures that we thought were lost forever, gone for millions of years, suddenly reappearing, as if to remind us that nature always has a few surprises up its sleeve. It's like that old saying, right?
Okay.
The more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Okay.
And the ocean, it's like the ultimate proof of that. Makes you wonder, what else is down there, just waiting to be discovered?
Well, for centuries, the ocean has been a source of myths and legends. What if some of those stories, the ones we dismissed as pure fantasy, what if they hold a grain of truth?
I see where you're going with this. You're talking about those ancient tales of sea monsters, creatures that could swallow ships whole.
Exactly. Take the Kraken, for example. For centuries, sailors have whispered about this colossal, tentacled beast lurking in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, just waiting to drag unsuspecting ships to their doom.
And for a long time,
Yeah.
that's all it was, right? A scary story to tell around a campfire. Until, well, we discovered giant squid.
And not just big squid, giant squids. Some of these creatures can grow to be over 20 meters long. That's longer than a school bus.
And even those giants might be dwarfed by the colossal squid, right?
Absolutely. We've only ever found fragments of colossal squid, but those fragments suggest a creature of truly monstrous size. Imagine a squid so large it could make a meal of a whale.
Okay, now that's a Kraken in the making. So maybe those old sailors weren't so far off the mark after all.
Precisely. The ocean has a way of surprising us, of challenging our assumptions about what's possible. Just when we think we've got a handle on things, it throws us a curveball, reminds us that we're still just scratching the surface of its mysteries.
It's both humbling and exhilarating, isn't it? To know that there are still wonders out there waiting to be discovered. Maybe the real question isn't whether megalodons still exist, but what other mind-blowing creatures are swimming around out there, hidden in the depths?
And that's what makes this whole field so captivating. Every expedition, every new discovery has the potential to rewrite the textbooks, to change our understanding of life on Earth.
So the next time you're at the beach, looking out at the ocean, remember, it's not just waves out there. It's a whole other world, a world full of mysteries and wonders that we're only just beginning to glimpse. And who knows? Maybe, just maybe, there's a megalodon out there somewhere waiting to be found. But hey, that's a deep dive for another day.